Hey, what's up, Miami? This is 305 Sports Now, and thank you for watching. I am Will. If you like what you hear today, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to 305 Sports Now so I can keep giving you this wonderful content that is all about, and I mean all about Miami sports. All right, so I just have to say one thing. I am so excited because football season is almost here, right? Just a couple more weeks before the Miami Hurricanes kick off their season against Bethune-Cookman, all right, at home. And the Miami Dolphins just had a victory tonight, although preseason, against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over in Tampa, 26-24. We'll talk about the Dolphins in another episode and so on, but I got to talk about Canes, right? So what I'm going to be doing for the next few days and a couple weeks is before the season starts, I'll be breaking down the Miami Hurricanes position by position, all right? So today, I have chosen to talk about is the defensive line. I will go over some individual players, all right, but I'm not going to go over every single player in the defensive line. Just to let you know, just some notables that are currently on the team itself. But I'm just so happy to be doing this because again, I'm just so excited because like I said, I love football. I've been a Canes fan since I was 7 because that's how I remember the Canes. So I've seen some great times with the Miami Hurricanes, and I've seen some low times. I've seen some rises, and I've seen some, that little glimmer of hope that that they're back, and then it just fizzled out. So, but I am confident about this coaching staff. I'm confident about the direction the team is going, and I'm confident in regards to the personnel that now that since we do have depth, all right, in some of our key positions, we will, which I'll explain what I mean by that, and I think that we will be, I think we'll be okay, and I think we'll be building for the future to come. Basically, the word I've been using lately is, or phrase I've been using lately is acquisition of talent. All right, so let's go forward with the defensive line. Okay, so the defensive line and the offensive line are the two most important positions, all right, in any football team. Let me explain why. All right, well, now we all talk about the quarterback. Yes, you do need an elite quarterback. But what keeps the quarterback upright and allows him to be able to survey the field and deliver the football to his skill position players is the fact that he has guys in the trenches that block for him and allow him to have that time to assess the field, see who's open or see who can throw open, and be able to deliver that football. In the defensive side of the football, it's the front four. The front seven, yes, of course, but I really want to focus on the front four because the way the front four goes, and in some cases the front three, but I'm going to focus on the front four because Miami's going to be playing a four. It's going to be playing with 4 down linemen this season. It's important because the front four dictates, how teams, if the teams are going to run the ball, if teams are going to pass the ball. Why? Because of what the front four is showing or giving to the opposing offense. All right. What I mean by that is like if you have a front four that can stop the run, it's going to force the quarterback, to pass the football, and that leaves in blitzing situations. That leaves the opportunities for quarterbacks to get interceptions because pressure will be coming in, as well, because now defenses know exactly what you'll be doing, right? And vice versa, if you're if you're sacking the quarterback all the time and so on, because now if it's a passing team and you're constantly with your front four always applying pressure, it enables, the DBs to pretty much eat because then they're able to, get their batted balls, be able to get their picks, and so on. So basically the front four makes everybody look good on defense, just like the offensive line on offense makes everybody look good on offense, right? Because it allows the quarterback time, okay? And on the defense side of the football, a solid front four rattles the quarterback and makes the defense life a lot easier. Okay, so linebackers look good, DBs look good if you got a solid front four. That's pretty much what I want to go with. So like I said, I'll be going over individual players, and the first one I'm going to talk about, I'm just going to get on to it, is LT3, Mr. Leonard Taylor III, all right, the sophomore, former 5-star defensive lineman out of Palmetto Senior High School. This kid is a beast, all right? He has the potential to be aligned with some of the greatest Hurricanes to ever play his position as an interior defensive lineman. I'm talking about guys like Warren Sapp. I'm talking about guys like Russell Maryland. I'm talking about guys like Jerome Brown, Vince Wilfork. Okay, I'm talking about those kinds of guys, that kind of company. In general, Leonard Taylor has the opportunity, if he continues to work hard and develop as a player, to be in line with those individuals. Why? Because the kid is absolutely sick, all right? He is an individual that he will not only stop the run, be a clogger of lanes and so on, and allow the linebackers to make plays in general. But he's also a guy that can get to your quarterback. He has that good of hands, all right, and he has that good of speed in general and getting off his blocks and to make sure that he causes half. So basically, this guy is a full-blown disruptor, right? He disrupts the running game. He disrupts the passing game. He is just a phenomenon, right? This was a great find by head coach Manny Diaz back when he recruited him when he was still the head coach over here for the University of Miami. Now, I will say this. A lot of the fans, and rightfully so, did complain that Leonard Taylor did not get enough run this past season. I completely agree. All right. I think Leonard Taylor should have had more snaps early in the season. All right. And even towards the middle and end of the season as well. Right. I'm going to give you guys an example. All right. Leonard appeared in 6 games. Right. 6 out of 12 games. Canes finished 7-5. Never played their bowl game. He appeared in 6 out of 12 games. So he appeared in half the games. All right. In that span, all right, LT3 got 21 total tackles, 7 solo tackles, 8.5 tackles for loss. All right. And 2 sacks. 2 sacks. All right. So in that little span, wrecked havoc. Right. Was absolutely wrecking havoc. Right. He was just tearing teams apart, making life a living hell for the quarterback, a living hell for the running back, a living hell for the lineman that had to block him. Right. He was just a nightmare. He's the kind of guy that in the interior line, if you're a linebacker, you're a happy camper, because if he gets to that running back first, you get a chance to get at least assist, all right, in general, in the tackle, right? If he gets that quarterback first, if you're a linebacker coming in, you get a chance to assist in general in that sack. So he makes life a lot easier for the boys in the back, okay? That's what Leonard Taylor brings to the table, right? From what I saw last year, okay, so those of you who want to comment, feel free to comment. It doesn't bother me, what you guys say to me, so on. If you agree with me or disagree with me, it's okay. A little debate's good. But he kind of reminds me of Warren Sapp. Okay, Warren Sapp, if any of you remember, go that far back in particular, Warren Sapp was the guy that he was a disruptor. Okay, the guy wrecked havoc, and Warren Sapp wasn't just a guy that stopped the run. He's also a guy that sacked quarterbacks. Right, he made life a living hell for quarterbacks as well. Why? Because he was just that fast. Warren Sapp originally was recruited as a tight end. All right. And then he was switched over to the defensive line position. We all know history. Okay. He's a Hall of Famer and a multi-time Pro Bowler for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he was an All-American for the Miami Hurricanes, right, as well. So he was just a beast. And Leonard Taylor has that opportunity. Okay. If you look at the way that Leonard Taylor just bursts off the ball, in general, fights off of blocks and so on. He has the potential to be great. Not good. Great. And you know that the Miami Hurricanes, whenever they won national championships, they've had amazing defensive tackles. All right. They've had that guy. All right. They've had that guy that's been absolutely dominant. All right. And has been a hellraiser against offenses, during games. Okay. So that's pretty much what I have to say, in that perspective. So I'm really, really, really rooting for LT3 this year, man. I think LT3 this year, is going to be a beast. He's going to anchor that D-line, and that D-line is going to be much improved, than what it was last year. If you remember last year, the Canes gave up a lot on the ground, a little better, as the end of the season, middle to the end of the season went along, gave up a lot of passing yards that never changed. All right. A little better, in terms of, the run. Okay. But they had future games against, obviously Alabama. They had a future game against, in spurts against Appalachian State. They gave a big run that the Appalachian State kept them in the game, as well. And they gave several runs on occasions, that hurt the Canes, towards, in games in particular. Okay. So that's something that they're going to have to clean up this year. Kevin Steele and Rod Wright and Joe Salavea are going to have to clean up JT as well. By the way, for being an analyst, he's out there all the time. Jason Taylor is whom I'm referencing, but I'll get more into Jason Taylor when I go over the ends, because I'm going to do the tackles and the ends today. Okay. The second guy I'm going to talk about is a guy that is a rotational player, but he is a fan favorite. He's actually a favorite of mine just because of his tenacity. He's a solid rotation player, and that's Jordan Miller, right? Jordan Miller is a big guy at 320 pounds. He is a lane clogger, right? He is a block eater, okay? And he could be very good this year in stopping the run. Last year, Jordan appeared in 11 out of 12 games, had 19 total tackles. He had 10 solo tackles, 9 of them he assisted, right? He had 4.5 tackles for loss and 1.5 sacks, okay? So, So he had a pretty decent season, and so on in terms of, just playing the role, just being a rotational player, just getting his, his hands, his feet wet and so on throughout the season. So we're getting into that. All right. So I do project that Jordan Miller, because of his seniority as well and his experience, and also from what I've seen in video, so on that I've watched, on video, he's pretty good at exploding off the ball. He's beaten Logan Sagapolu right a couple times, in practice, and a couple of linemen as well. So I think Jordan Miller's going to get a lot of run this year. All right. Again, LT3 is going to lead, but I think Jordan's going to get, a bit of run this year, as well. Another guy I want to talk about is Jarrett Harrison Hunt as well. 9 games, 17 total tackles, 9 solo. Right. He had pretty much eight tackles for loss. He had 2 sacks this year. Again, another rotational player. Right. Good on the field. So we'll see as well, of Jarrett Harrison Hunt. We'll see exactly what we get. All right. In terms of who he is. Okay. Athletic guy. All right. We'll say Jarrett Harrison Hunt's an athletic guy. Showed some spark last year. There were situations that, that he, showed that he belonged on the football field. And then, like I said, the rotational players were pretty good for the Canes. Gave up a few runs here and there, especially, like I said, earlier in the season against Bama, App State, and so on. Gave up a couple runs against Florida State, as well. But nonetheless, the biggest problem the Canes had last year, I will say this, aside from early on and stopping the run, is that they lacked a pass rush. All right. And that's what made, those defenses that Manny Diaz had and Mark Richt had very effective, when they first started, as coaches for the Canes. All right. They had very effective, pass rushers. Okay. They had, like I said, Greg Rousseau. They had Greg Rousseau that one season. They had Jalen Phillips, Quincy Roche, as well, getting involved. They had Jackson as well, who was out there as at the end. He was just phenomenal. And not only that, like guys like Norton and RJ McIntosh also were able to get to the quarterback, on several occasions. So they had, the pass rush thing was very good. Last season, the pass rushing was just putrid. All right. Was just absolutely putrid. And we're going to get into the end position because those are the guys that are expected, on 3rd and long in certain situations to get to the quarterback. Okay. So just wait, we'll get to the ends in about a minute or so. So let's get now into the transfer portal guys. All right. Let's go into the transfer portal guys because Miami picked up some key individuals, in the transfer portal this year. The first one we'll talk about is Mr. Jacob Littenstein. Jacob was a DL over at defensive lineman over at USC. He is also a native of Western Florida. So this is a homecoming for Jake Littenstein. Okay. So Jacob had actually a breakout year last season, with USC. Okay. He had actually 28 total tackles for loss. All right. He is actually a hybrid DL, defensive lineman, and defensive end. He's built like a defensive end, but has some size to him. So he's pretty jacked, right? But he's very lean, where a lot of D linemen, they're a lot more huskier and bigger, and so on, like Vince Wilfork, as well, Russell Maryland were big DLs, and so on, because that's that you're dealing with the biggest guys, which are the interior offensive linemen. So Jacob is a bit of a hybrid defensive lineman DN. So they want to use him at DN for certain situations. They probably won't be afraid to do so. Okay. But he probably will be, he is going to play mostly. That's how he's been practicing. He play mostly the defensive line position. Again, not shocking that he transferred out, but he did transfer out. And again, USC does have some new leadership. So it's obvious that he wanted to go that route. But the bottom line is that Jake Littenstein and so on has very good hands. He's actually very strong. Okay. He's good on the bull rush as well. As we saw in some videos in practice, stuff like that. He's good with the bull rush as well. Has a good swim move. He can get to your running back quickly and get to your quarterback quickly. Hence the reason why he is also a defensive end. Like I said, a hybrid. Okay. So you get a little bit of a twofer with Jacob. Okay. So if you want to have, like I said, maybe a line that is built to stop the run because it's maybe 3rd and short, and you think that, let's say you're playing a team maybe like Georgia Tech, that has a history of running the football a little bit more than passing. You got 3 and 2. They may try to run. You have a guy that can set his edge if the quarterback decides to run, because Georgia Tech's quarterback was a bit athletic. Set his edge if the guy decides to run, can assist the linebacker in that category, or could also set his edge and be able to beat off the right tackle and be able to get a tackle for loss and so on if they decide to go, let's say, run towards the outside. So that's just a little bit of what Jacob could bring to the table. Again, I'm just talking. I'm giving a perspective on why I would see him as a D end if they were to use him in those situations, but he's gonna be coming in a majority fashion as a defensive lineman, okay, as an interior lineman. Why? Because that's the rotation that Miami's gonna follow. They're gonna be bringing in bodies left and right, bodies left and right, keeping guys fresh and so on. Keeping offenses a bit off balance, in terms of the personnel, and that's what I see, in terms of a guy like Jacob Littenstein. The one that I find very interesting, okay, is the arrival of Akiem Mesador. Akiem Mesador, from Canada, by the way, came from the West Virginia Mountaineers along with Daryl Porter, the former cornerback that they have now as the Cane. All right, Akiem Mesador had a very solid year last year as a sophomore. All right, he had 38 tackles. Okay, he had 8 of them for loss, 4.5 sacks. He's actually extremely athletic. Okay, just like Jake Littenstein. He's actually in high school played a bit of linebacker, a bit of D end, and now in West Virginia he played D tackle his second year playing for them, and then occasionally was shift over as a D end. Played a little linebacker his freshman year, so he's quite a find for the Canes, and he's probably gonna get a lot more run than some that may even expect because of the fact that he's so versatile, in terms on the line of scrimmage. He's very effective, a run stopper, guy could take on the quarterback. I don't see him playing the end position as much. I do see him probably playing the defensive line position a bit more. I could be wrong, but the bottom line is that this was a great find for Mario Cristobal in the transfer portal. All right, and then you have other ends. You have Moden coming in as a freshman. You have Joshua Neely as well, who's I believe a sophomore this year, as a defensive tackle. All right, so we do have a lot of depth in general at the D line position, and that is something that Mario Cristobal wanted to create. So we have D linemen, all right, interior linemen. We have depth there, and we have depth also at the end position as well, as we're going to get into the ends right now. And one of the guys that I was a big fan of, but didn't get as much run as I wanted him to at the defensive end position, that's what we're switching to now, is Chance Williams, right? Chance Williams was one of the few guys on defense that had a pretty good game against Alabama. All right, he got the sack fumble, right, against Bryce Young, the eventual Heisman Trophy winner, that put the Canes in a position to actually score, in the red zone against the Crimson Tide, So I like Chance Williams. Chance had played in 9 games, 14 total tackles, 8 solo, about a sack and a half, right? Chance was back up to Zach McCloud. One of the things that people talk about is that, again, the loyalty to McCloud for staying another year might have stunted the growth of Chance Williams. Chance Williams, I believe, will be a junior this year. I think he's a sophomore or redshirt freshman this past season, but I think he's going to be a junior this year, or at least a redshirt sophomore, one of the two. But they believe that his growth was stunted because of Manny's loyalty to Zach McCloud. So that's something that did occur. Zach did end the season with 6 sacks, if I'm not mistaken. So his pass rushing ability did improve, right? Again, converting from an outside linebacker over to the end. But Chance did not get the opportunity that he deserved. Okay, so that's something that I think that we have to also evaluate. As far as how Chance goes, like, how good is Chance Williams? I think Chance Williams, again, is quick off the ball, but can he get off blocks and so on? That's one thing that I think that the coaching staff is going to evaluate this year, and referencing to how they view Chance. I'm going to review is Jafari Harvey, right? Jafari Harvey showed flashes last year as well. Okay, he had 2.5 sacks, 6.5, 26 total tackles, 6.5 for loss. He had 2.5 sacks and had 1 interception return for a touchdown against North Carolina, right? That was a phenomenal catch and return for a touchdown as Sam Howell was attempting, I believe it was a bubble screen, and Jafari just picks it off and takes it all the way to the house, which was good because the Canes needed every single point that they needed in that opportunity. Jafari, he is bought in completely to the Cristobal system. He's bought into his coaching staff, his position coaches, his head coach. He is a total make of what Mario Cristobal wants in a player. Working hard in practice, wants to get better, likes the competition. That now he has some young guys that are gonna be, challenging him, for playing time. He welcomes that opportunity. Something that he felt in many cases the coaching staff gave a pass, the previous coaching staff gave a pass to certain players because of the fact that they did not want to, quote unquote, have him land in the transfer portal after the season's over because of a lack of playing time. He is totally bought in. He is a Mario guy, as is Tyler Van Dyke. And I'm looking forward to seeing the progression that Jafari is going to make this year as far as the end position. Hopefully that will lead to sacks. Okay, that's something, like I said, the Canes lacked in last season. And I think that hopefully Jafari, with the new strength and conditioning that program that this team has with Aaron Feld, with the practices being more intense, the attention to detail, the more assignment-based football, and so on under Kevin Steele, having the coaching of Rod Wright, and not only Rod Wright, but JT, Jason Taylor's out there. JT is not only an analyst, okay, but he is also out there with the players, coaching and yelling and so on. So that's great for a guy like Harvey and Williams, to improve upon, in terms as players, because they got some guys that have done it at a high level and have coached guys to success. Okay, so very excited about that. Now I want to talk about the incoming freshmen. All right, that are expected to make some noise this year. All right, let me go first with Mr. Let's go first with Mr. Najee Kelly, right, out of Dillard High School. All right, Najee was a guy that originally was not going to commit to the Canes. Okay, and then Coach Cristobal is hired, and Coach Cristobal starts knocking on doors, and he becomes the Cane, right? So Fort Lauderdale guy stays home, okay? And Najee Kelly wasn't able to find up-to-date stats, on Najee, but okay, but if you look at film of him in high school, his pass rushing capabilities are phenomenal. Okay, so that's something that I am looking forward to as well, and seeing this young guy develop out of Dillard High. Okay, so we're gonna see some good. Listen, I love a good pass rush, and I love DNs, man. I think DNs, they make the defensive line fun because they just wreak havoc. And when they get to that quarterback and you look at those highlights and the guy just drops to the ground, I think that is just a cool sight to see. And so, especially when your team is the one doing it, not when it's done to you, but when your team is on doing it. All right. And then I got to talk about this guy out of Bishop Gorman, Las Vegas, Cyrus Moss. All right. Cyrus Moss, who stood out, all right, in the spring game with 3 sacks, okay, against first teamers. 3 sacks, Mr. Cyrus Moss, a baller, all right, a stud, a beast of a defensive end out of Bishop Gorman High, right? Had about 6 sacks, his senior year, but I expect 63 total tackles though. So he's very versatile. He can also stop the run, set his edges. So he's not only just a guy that chases quarterbacks down, all right, but he's also a guy that also could stop the run as well. He had 54 total tackles, 63 total tackles as well. So I'm excited, to see this kid just flat out ball out this year. All right. Compared a bit to Jason Taylor because of his height, it's also his frame in terms of being a lean guy. So I'm very excited about seeing this guy just wreak havoc. This guy is, Cyrus Moss is going to get playing time. All right. He's going to get playing time. He's going to see some action. More than likely, he will see some action against Bethune-Cookman. Right, the Canes are expected to walk all over Bethune. So this is a good opportunity for guys like Najee Kelly, right? Najee Kelly, and also Cyrus Moss to get an opportunity to get some playing time, get some reps, and get some sacks, and build up, their status with the team and with the coaching staff to get more reps as the season rolls along. Because, like I said, it's be bodies rolling left and right, and there's going to be, a lot of talent, acquisition for this team, right? Especially next year, as we have some more edge rushers coming in, especially also at the linebacker position as well, which we'll see, with Malik Bryant and Raul Aguirre. All right, so I'm excited, guys. I'm really excited. Okay, that's it for me. All right, I'm done talking about the defensive line. I'm gonna go next. Next time I speak, I'm going to give you an update on Jaden Bonsu. He should be later on today. He should be giving his commitment. I believe it's at 4:00. He should be giving his commitment. I'll be reporting on that as well. And then sometime during the week, I will be going the offensive side of the ball. I will be going over the wide receivers. Okay, I will be going over the wide receivers, my take on the receivers, my hype around the young guys, who I think is going to stand out, and so on. And then I'll be giving you guys different positions during the week. I will be doing some upcoming interviews as well, so stay tuned for that. All right, nothing set in stone, but I am working on them. So we'll be, again, I'm not stopping, guys. This 305 Sports Now thing is really pushing forward. Okay, And I just hope you guys continue to ride along with me. All right, once again, guys, I am done. All right, I'm done for today. I am Will. If you like what you heard, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. All right, thank you very much again. Be safe. God bless. See you soon.